Everyone, take a moment of silence, preferably laying on the floor with your arms behind your back. I know many believe that this stance is representative of George Floyd, but I like this one to remind you of Breonna Taylor, who still has yet to have her police officers convicted for this crime. Murdered in her sleep. All right, you all are free to sit up now. Just real quick, so you can get a reminder as to why we now have grass stains in the front of our shirts and our pants. Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
Say her name.
Breonna Taylor.
I want you all, when you go home tonight, to look at the other deaths of black women, more importantly, black trans women that are being neglected every day, and we refuse to give them the spotlight. So I'd like to welcome Brandon to the stage.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for everyone for coming out. And in 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. stood on the steps in front of the Lincoln Memorial and shouted for freedom to spill from the most racist corners of this nation. From Alabama, where Greg Gunn was murdered after a stop and frisk search in 2019, to Georgia, where Ahmaud Arbery was chased down like a dog and shot by devils in 2020. In 1963, King had a dream where people were judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And 57 years later, I must admit, I have never had this dream. As I've never dreamed of St. Nick squeezing through my chimney or a pot of gold at the end of a shimmering rainbow. I can't imagine what I don't understand in a world where the color of my skin doesn't affect every single moment of my life. It's something so alien I can't conceive it. 57 years later, and we're still marching against the same crimes, The same injustice, the same wounds that were never healed, never set, only left to grow into painful deformities. See, I dream of a world where being black doesn't mean your murderers will get to go home to their wives after being praised for a good day on the job. I dream of a world where being black with a toy gun isn't punishable by death with no right to a jury. I dream of a world where black boys can whistle at whoever they want. I dream of a world where being black in jail might not lead to your suspicious death. See, I still feel as if my dreams are just creations of a very vivid imagination. How many black men, women, and children will I have to watch die before we see real change? How much wealth inequality does there have to be before we acknowledge a problem? How many officers will commit crime against humanity before we realize that a badge does not give a man the right to take another's life? See, I have my dreams, and in them I see George Floyd going home to his daughter. I see Ahmaud Arbery jogging home to see his mom. I see Breonna Taylor waking up to get ready to go save lives. I see Trayvon Martin attending Florida University. I see Emmett Till whistling as if God put music in his lungs. I see black banks and businesses thriving. I see streets of ghettos turning to rivers of wealth and prosperity. I see red lines fading into bright smiles. And I see police turning to social services and homes for the homeless. See, I can't imagine a world where I'm not judged by the color of my skin, but I can sure as hell see a world where I'm no longer targeted for it. I can imagine a world where I don't have to wake up to Breonna Taylor's murderers still out free and armed by the city. A world where men like Derek Chauvin are never allowed to carry a badge in the first place. A world where Burlington holds their officers accountable. When one black man, woman, or child is assaulted or killed, we as black people all feel the blow because as it stands, we're judged by the color of our skin, not the content of our character. See, Mr. King thought we were close, but it's time to realize how far we are. America refuses to acknowledge your sins and claim to stand as the land of the free. But America is the land of the delusional oppressed. See, I have my dreams. And in them, I hear the voice of Mr. King, and I hear him tell me of the importance of faith. I know the amount of faith he possessed, the faith that carried him through hell as he protested peacefully. I don't have the heart to tell him I can never have faith in the same system that put a bullet in his head. I can't have faith in the system that condoned the Algiers motel murders, and I sure as hell will never trust a system that elected the man who called for the execution of 5 innocent black boys. The same president who is now antagonizing peaceful protesters and killing innocent Americans. I will never trust a system that wrote me in as 3/5 a man, nor will I have faith in a country that sees slavery as an acceptable form of punishment. How can I trust a system where both sides benefit from the oppression of my people? A system made of wolves and foxes as I go to cast my vote. One calling for military action against those calling for justice, and another determining whether or not I ain't black. The thing about dreaming is you always have to wake up and decide whether or not you're going to do everything in your power to make your dreams a reality. A weed filled with hatred and greed is no longer a necessary evil, but an intolerable one. And let me say this. Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
All right. Can we get one more round of applause for Brandon? All right. Our next speaker is Ash. If you were at the Montpelier State event, Black Lives Matter protest, he spoke and delivered some powerful fucking words, man. So Ash will be up here again. Give it up for Ash.
Hi everyone, my name is Ash Diggs, and there's a song that I've listened to for a long time. It's been one of my favorites for years and years, and for a while I wasn't sure what it was that gave it that longevity for me. The artist is great, the music is wonderful, but what I realized too young and have only felt more and more as a man was that the lines in Edgar Winter's song were strands in my DNA. Not the way I was born, but the way I became fatigued living in this country. Why am I fighting to live if I'm just living to fight? Why am I trying to see if there is nothing for me in sight? Why am I trying to give when no one gives me a try? Why am I dying to live if I'm just living to die? Today is not my birthday, but I was born on the 4th of July. This was the day I started to understand where I was, what I had to do, and who I had to be. My mother was not born an American. My father's ancestors were not freed on Independence Day. This day is not for me. Today, the USA celebrates the dismantling of a system that oppressed them, dominated them until they could no longer stand it. They went to war to fight for their freedom, and they won. So why not celebrate in grand fashion? Summer being not just a word, not just a season, but a feeling as sweet as freedom tastes. The grays of winter so long ago and still so far away. You go outside to feel the sun's rays beat down upon you and welcomed its fist. The heat from the concrete rises and makes the soles of your bare feet tingle. The smell of lighter fluid on the coals, harsh but familiar, gives way to the flames that signal something great is on its way. Imagine my disappointment as a young child, enthusiastic to show off to my parents the knowledge imbued to me by a broken curriculum, that today we celebrated Independence Day, the day everybody became free. And my parents said with a smirk, well, not everybody. Imagine my dismay as I grew up and heard people discuss slavery and segregation as if it was a gray sky that passed so long ago and is so far away. America being not just a word, not just a country, but a feeling as heavy as a cuff, as a chain, as a shackle. I went outside and saw the red and blue lights, their rays beat down upon us as we bled under justice's fist. The heat from the concrete rising as we laid face down, making our cheekbones tingle. Smell of lighter fluid as the states on that electoral map turned red, revealing the coals that we'd been telling you were there. How they felt, always felt, and signaling something somehow worse was on its way. Imagine my dismay as I learned outside of elementary school about Juneteenth, the true day of liberation, and how it is recognized in no official capacity, save for a few states, like Vermont, where they declare, we'll put it on the calendar, at least this year. Imagine my dismay as I learned that not only were my history lessons in school wrong, they were outright lies. Why did the Civil War start? Why did we cover the Reconstruction without discussing the nadir of American race relations? A term coined by Rayford Logan to describe the point in time after Reconstruction through the early 20th century when post-slavery racism in this country was at its most vitriolic. Lynchings, segregation, legal racial discrimination, this specific period, is how the world we know it as it is today was born. But that's not in our books. How can this education system teach our children that all America does is win and leave out the fact that those championship banners are soaked in the blood of its own people? I applaud the budget cuts passed by our city council regarding the police department, but there is still so much work to do. In Vermont, in our world, so much to teach and everything to dismantle. I could show you all the data, but you might be more apt to believe the police can't be reformed if you'd always learned how historically it's been a safe space for white supremacists, Klansmen, given reign to do as they please, and that the institution is working exactly as it was built to. I could show you all the data, but you might be more apt to believe that black people are at an economic disadvantage if you'd always learned this country attacks and massacres us for thriving. Sure, I'm glad you know about it now, but no, it wasn't just Tulsa. See Atlanta, Georgia, 1906. Elaine, Arkansas, 1919. Rosewood, Florida, 1923. The list goes on and on. The institution is working exactly as it was built to. I could show you all the data, but you might be more apt to believe our medical system is biased against black people if you'd always learned more about the government's Tuskegee experiments, where black men seeking health care were purposefully injected with syphilis unbeknownst to them and studied as they rotted to death for research. If you learned how the laws instituted during Jim Crow affected the healthcare of black people and still do, especially black women, on a cellular level. Harvard's Dr. Nancy Krieger found that black women born before 1965 in Jim Crow states are to this day more likely than those born at the same time in other states to develop forms of breast cancer that are more aggressive and less responsive to chemotherapy, a finding which, as Erica Stallings writes, seems to be the manifestation of Professor Arlene Geronimus' theory of weathering, which posits that the toxic stress of dealing with discrimination day in, day out leads to poorer health outcomes. This day is no holiday to me. How could it be, when every piece of history I learn reminds me this country hates me? And I'm light-skinned, ethnically ambiguous even. I'm lucky. I've worked hard and honestly every day of my life, and it may never be enough. But I stand here optimistic. I love what we could be. I was indeed born on the 4th of July. This was the day I learned where I was, what I had to do, and who I had to be. So as we gather here today, I reject America's holiday. I reject America's Independence Day, but I will appropriate the methods of the founding Americans and fight to destroy every system that oppresses us, to lay down everything to dismantle that which breaks me. See here appropriate defined as taking someone else's for your own use, typically without the owner's permission. I will not ask for permission. I will take their methods for my own and use them against the monster they created and allowed to wreak generational havoc. Do as they did and go to war. I will go to war for me. I will go to war for you. I will go to war for black trans women whose freedom will lead to the freedom of us all, for we will only ever be as strong as our least protected allies. We need to destroy and rebuild nearly every system as we know it, and only then will we be the country we claim to be. The last lines of Edgar Winter's songs are strands in my DNA. Not the way I was born, but the way I became, furious living in this country. I will keep fighting to live until there is no reason to fight. I will keep trying to see until the end is in sight. I am trying to give, so please give me a try. I am dying to live until I am ready to die. Thank you.
give them a round of applause.
Thank you. Next group I want to bring out is a group of 3 strong black brothers that are actually here to fight the issues that people are afraid to fight. And I would like to welcome Chuck and the Furious Panther group. They're here to explain their mission on what they're trying to accomplish in the state of Vermont. So here you go.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Can I have everyone stand, please?
Stand, everybody. Stand. Please, thank you.
Yeah, 6 inches. All right, so I want to let you guys know who I am. My name is Chester. I'm here to represent the Furious Panthers. Our object is to make sure everyone has a fair shot, and we have no fear of anything. We all need to understand that society sees black people as a tool. Basically, it's just saying that we're not worthy of nothing. No black businesses, parents, black people having their kids taken away.
Systemic racism.
Yes, systemic racism. It needs to stop, and we all need to speak up and have no fear.
No fear.
So I want everyone to say no fear after everything we all say. So I would like everyone now to say no fear.
No fear.
Say it again, louder. Thank you, guys. So I'm gonna give it over to my vice president here, Earl.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Can I get everybody to say Black Lives Matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Once again, Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Again,
Black Lives Matter.
me as a black man here in this state, I have experienced racism, bias. As a officer of the church, being characterized as me being silenced, showing the signs of strength of me, where to the point where I have dealt with racism, being to the point is where bias, claim as I don't have no sense of responsibilities or nothing. The reason why I say that because I have a child in the system here where I have received real injustice dealing with this court system, dealing with DCF in this system, which a lot of changes need to be made. A lot of changes, a lot of issues need to be called out. A lot of people in high office need to be held accountable. It's time. It's time for us as black fathers in this state. No more us taking our kids off y'all, which y'all quote unquote think we are not responsible to raise our own children here in the state. So yeah, I'm here to call out people in higher office. That's from DCL to judges to the whole nine. It's time for us black fathers, our black brothers and sisters. It's time for a different change. Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Hey, thank you. I want y'all to raise your hand and say equal justice for all.
Equal
Justice for all. Can we repeat that? Equal justice for all. No fear.
No fear.
Equal justice for all.
Equal justice for all.
No fear.
No fear.
Equal justice for all.
Equal justice for all. No fear.
All right. I also want to read a parable, and this is the conditions
that we're in. You know, I like to read this to you. It's from the Genesis Bible, King James Version. Say, this is what God said to Abraham. God said, and he said unto Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be in a stranger in a land that is not theirs. We are those strangers in a land that is not ours, and shall serve them. We served them for 400 years, and they shall afflict them 400 years. We've been afflicted, people, you know, and we tired of it. The black man in America is tired. We're not taking no more. We want equal justice for all. Raise your hand. Equal justice for all. We're not taking no more. No fear. No fear. Thank you.
All right, let's give this man another round of applause. Next up, I have a strong man that basically touched my soul when he gave his speech last time at this rally. And I definitely wanted him to be a part of this, so please, Anthony, come join us and give us a couple words.
Holy shit. Yeah, like 6 feet? All right. How's it going, everybody? Excellent, excellent, excellent. No claps. I like that. Thank you. Most of you know. All right, listen. Anthony Marquez, I don't want to speak forever. I think everybody that's speaking here is doing a tremendous job, so if we can all give them a round of applause, that would be great. Real quick, as you guys can see, I do a lot of videography. I film, photography, cinematography, you name it. That's what I do. That's my passion. I absolutely love it. When I came here today, I was trying to figure out what would I speak about. Again, you guys don't see me up here with anything. This is all coming from the heart. Again, that's something that is extremely hard to do. Okay, so the reason why it's easier for me to do that is because I've been living this life my whole life. You guys all understand what I'm talking about. I'm not up here getting paid to give you everything that I've got. I'm up here giving you everything I've got because that's all I've got. I carry a camera, excuse me, holy cow. I carry a camera everywhere I go. And the one thing that's on that camera that means so much to me is the lens that I look through. I can change that lens up depending on if I want close shots, if I want wide shots, if I want different angles. That's the only time I change that lens up. But the cool part about me being able to carry a camera is the lens that I look through. And I think that's also the issue with who I am as a person. So I'm asking every single white person here to understand exactly where I'm coming from. Every single white person here. And I will ask it again. Can you guys hear me in the back? Can you guys hear me in the back? Can you guys hear me in the back? Thank you. You guys need to start switching the lens that you use on your camera on a regular basis. I say that to say this. You are so quick to say you're listening. You're so quick to do that. 90% of you, when we were down on Church Street, heard some individual, not calling out any names, but you heard someone say, essentially told you to say it with your chest. Don't just chant, really say something. When I ask you, can you hear me in the back? I don't want to hear yes. I want to hear you. Can you hear me in the back? Thank you. That's a huge Huge difference. It infuriates me. It makes me, notice I'm not swearing a lot. I told myself when I came up here, no F-bombs today. I'm trying my hardest. I'm really trying my hardest. I have an issue when I can look, I'm walking with you. I'm looking through my lens. And I see some of you, as everybody is chanting, I see some white people saying absolutely nothing. Literally, absolutely nothing. And it's sickening, because if that is too hard for you, here comes my first swear. Holy fuck. If that is too hard for you, because that's the issue, guys. That is the issue. I shouldn't be looking through my lens and see white people struggling to speak up. Stuff that doesn't even naturally affect you. You're having a hard time pretending. You're having a hard time pretending. Do you understand? Some of you can't even pretend. And that's something you're taught at a young age when you're getting ready to fuck every black person over in the state of Vermont. So just adjust your lens. Understand that. Understand what I'm trying to say. Adjust your lens, change your focus, because some of you are seriously out of focus. Like extremely out of focus. Your shit is so blurry. Your shit is so blurry that when you take a picture, you can't tell if it's me you're taking a picture of or any of these guys. But guess what? You're willing to blame every single one of us if it fits your image. I'm gonna stop there. But the point I could go on for days about this, guys. The point that I'm trying to say is this: adjust your focus, change your lens. I'm trying to tell you to change your fucking perspective and realize this isn't just something you come to then post on Instagram later and say, hey. Real quick before I get off this, I want to wrap it up with what these four gentlemen were saying up here. I want to kind of clarify a little bit on terms of what they were actually trying to get you guys to really understand. Because all of you, not just some of you, all of you, have an issue with what they were talking about. Every single one of you white individuals in the crowd have an issue with what they're talking about, because what they're asking you to do is be in the corner. What they're asking you to do is, when you see some of us struggling and fighting and just scratching at anything that we can get in this world at all, the one thing we should be allowed to do is parent our fucking kids. That's all they're saying. And you're taking that away. We are much stronger. We are much stronger together. If you are white, how far back do I gotta stand? Right there? Okay. All right, right here. Perfect, right here. If you are white, understand, I am not attacking you. I am telling you there's a huge difference. I'm not attacking you. Attacking is what the system does. Attacking is what the system that benefits you guys on a regular basis does to us. I am telling you to help us. Here comes my second swear. Hold up. You don't want to clap yet. Here comes my second one. Help us the fuck out, because we are stronger with you and we understand that. But at the same time, you got to realize you're way fucking stronger with us, because we've been going through this bullshit. Thank you.
All right. Anthony Revolutionary, as always. One more time. Give it up for Anthony. All right. So we got some powerful black women up in the front. Can I hear it for them real fast, real fast, real fast? Being a black female is as hard as it is, right? But being a black female activist is a weight we continuously carry. And it's hard, man. It's a weight. It's hefty as fuck, right? So right now I'm about to introduce Christelle, a woman who's made her name known very well throughout all of upstate Vermont. And I've been able to hear it all the way from the Old North End. So can I please hear it for Christelle? Right, oh, right here? Wait.
You don't have to lean.
Can I?
I got you.
Oh, okay. I was gonna.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Can we just give Anthony one more round of applause because wow!
I'll make sure I get you more information before I go along with it, okay?
Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you, this day, rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought light and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. Frederick Douglass, 1852. We mourn the executions of every black man, woman, and child that has died between the patterns of red, white, and blue. Colors you revere, colors we reject. They mourned Emmett Till, we mourn George Floyd. They mourn the segregations of schools. We mourn the lack of equal opportunity in schools. We mourn all the black women that have died during childbirth because if you did not know, black women are 2 to 6 times more likely to die from complications of pregnancy than white women. We mourn the unborn lives of our sons and daughters. We mourn the future because having this complexion in this country, I am seen as a problem before I am seen as a person. We mourn the loophole implemented in the 13th Amendment, the one that permits slavery. It's just disguised as mass incarceration. Jefferson declared equality and freedom while owning slaves. How does that song go? Let freedom ring. Those bells did not ring for us. I'm gonna share something real quick because I'm feeling a lot of things right now and I feel like just my age group, I'm 17 and I feel like a lot of people can relate and if not, then So I'm a part of a racial alliance committee at my high school. And I remember, I think it was last year, when I was telling my friend, who was also black, about all the things we were doing, about all the change we were making, and he told me, okay, that's fine, but like, that's whatever. I was like, what do you mean? You know, I'm doing this for us. Like, what do you mean? And he was like, your voice, it doesn't matter. Like, you and your little high school, like, what do you think you're doing? You're not doing anything. You're wasting your time. What if I had listened? Standing here today and being a part of everything that has occurred in the last few weeks, this is anything but little. My little voice is a part of many more larger voices. Together, we're a community. He told me your voice doesn't matter. He told me unless white people say everything you're saying, be quiet. First of all, I will never be quiet. I just talk a lot. I will never be quiet. But listen. As I stand here today, I see white people, I see brown people, I see people of all ethnicities here standing with us today saying Black Lives Matter. Who won't be heard? I'm heard. I see everyone here is heard. We just need to make sure the system hears us. And we need you to do it with us. So that anyone who ever wanted to give up, you can't give up when you're fighting for people like you, for people who look like you. I'm here because of my parents. I'm here because of my younger sister. I'm here because of my future. Because I said it before, I will not be burying my kids. And I will make it so my younger sister is not fighting as hard as I am. That's a promise. I need your help to do it. So once again, Black Lives what?
Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives what?
Black Lives Matter.
No justice, no peace.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Perfect. So our next speaker, woman who has been working, again, in Burlington for so long and has simply not given the attention and the love that they deserve. So I'd like to mention and bring up Nasteha to speak. So Nasteha, come up. Nasteha and Balkisa, another powerful voice that you can be on the lookout for.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Is it loud enough? Can everybody hear me?
Here we go.
Okay, hello, everyone.
Hey.
My name is Nasteha,
And I'm Balkisa. Can
And
you guys hear
we're-
us in the back? Okay.
and we're from Vermont, by the way. I don't know if you knew, but we're from Vermont. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
To who? Happy birthday to America? How are we going to celebrate the birth of a nation that lives through the destruction of black bodies? 1619, you got your black presents. I mean, their presents began, but their history wrapped away. Our culture became the icing on your cake. Our bodies, the candles. One added every day, each candle holds a memory, each slice holds a life. You light us up. You stare at that candle forever until you make a wish.
You sit there and watch the candle burn out, as if it won't turn into a roaring flame, as if it won't
Turn into an angry black woman.
just like you sat there and watched our bodies bleed out, as you watched them put their knees on our necks, and everything,
And after everything we gave you,
after everything that we did for you,
the culture that we gave you, the country that we built for you,
the children that we raised for you, while our innocent black child with his whole future ahead of him, told he's not worthy of a life. Told he's not worthy of a life. When you stand against this movement, you're saying that all the pain I felt isn't real. That I'm not suffering. The deaths of my brothers and sisters aren't real. When you say racism doesn't exist, you're saying I can't hear you.
should we scream louder?
Should we do what your patriots do? Should we press our knees on your neck? Would you hear us over your gasp for air? I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
We can't breathe.
You want us to celebrate the birth of a nation that used black bodies to prosper? A country that runs on keeping us incarcerated? A system that was never made for us? The concept of freedom does not seem to come to our doorsteps. Instead, we're celebrating for the ones who didn't get to live this day.
Happy White Independence
Independence Day.
All right. Can we hear it one more time? I want to hear it. All right. So we're here to amplify voices and keep this wonderful sharing of Black voices here and present. So I'd like to welcome Randy to the stage. All right, so, actually we're not gonna welcome Randy to the stage, it's fine. Oh, perfect, great.
I apologize, guys. Technical difficulties. All right. I want to bring out someone special to me, of course. My mother. She want to come out and say a couple words. Basically, she has been through a lot of the civil unrest in the '60s. I mean, I don't want to call her Asian. Sorry, Mama, but she could give a good input on the experience that she has dealt with and give you guys a lot of pointers and advice and whatever she wants to speak. So, Mom.
I want to say thank you to everyone that has shown the support and the issues that we're dealing with in today society. This is 2020. I've gone through marching in the late 60s and early 70s. And I just want to state to you that all the involvement that I have been in with social issues, things haven't changed. It hasn't changed like it should be. And one of the issues that I still am fighting about is the system taking away our children. I can't understand why we aren't strong enough to tear down the system that takes our children away. It's another form of slavery. The issues that people keep coming up with, especially dealing with Black men as fathers, is such a misnomer. When Black men are fighting for their children, they are still not recognized. And our society needs to come together for Black families. Black families matters. It was an African proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. And we have been put in a situation that we can't raise our children because this society says we are not capable. We're capable of taking care of the white man's child and raise them from the time of slavery, from the time they stole us and brought us to this country. We did not have no rights to our own children. They split us up, and they're still splitting us up. And the thing that makes it so bad is that there are families that are still trying to fight for the children that have been taken away for no real reason. And we need to make sure that this is not going to continue. Not only with Black children, but the Hispanic children that's in cages, the indigenous children who were taken away from their country, the Native American children who have been divided and put in orphanage and are still not given what they should be given in their own land. This system needs an investigation on why there are so many black children taken away. Africans who come here to this state wind up losing their children so often. So many of them have lost children to the system. And this, like I said, is just another way of, to me, of a genocide and a slave state when they come to not just a state, all over. And we need to fight to get our children back. Black men are fighting to get their children and to be recognized. Black mothers are fighting to get their children back and be recognized. Black grandparents have been fighting to get their children back. And I'm not going to stop fighting for the system to stop taking our rights away from our own. We're not going to stop fighting. I am hoping that we will be able to meet with the system, those that's in control of DCF, and get on board with having them look into what's going on with the black families. They do not support us when we do try to take in our other children who are of children of color. They prefer to say, you're not equipped. You don't have the income, you have a disability, you have all these things that when it comes to a white person that's not even related, that child will go to that person, that family, instead of our family. They won't reach out to see who is available, whether it's through the people in the church, in the community. They will block us every time. And this has to end, and it will end with all of us fighting for our family. So black families matter.
Black families matter.
All right, can we get up one more time? I was privileged enough to grow up with a black family, so I understand the amount of power and love they give to black children. But with that being said, let's make sure we're also paying attention to the homeless black teenagers that are all around Vermont and all around Burlington especially. They need a home. And by home, I mean endless love. And we as a people should be open and willing to give that. So, speaking of love, this girl, man, woman, Hawa,
Yes, I was.
made her mark on Burlington here for so long, has inspired me and I'm sure many of the other speakers you saw up here today and in the past. So I'd like to welcome Hawa to the stage.
Hi everyone.
Hey.
I'm Hawa, and I want to go off of Anthony's note. and address the Karens out here.
Speak on it.
Yeah. So can y'all hear me in the back? Yeah. All right, word. So we have a lot of Karens in this very state. They are your mothers, your sisters, your neighbor, your friend, and the children that you are raising. And they are terrorists. They are murderers, and they are no better than the white cops, than the women and men carrying F-35s, and they need to do better. So this piece is for them. White woman says, and I quote, "You know, sometimes my privilege feels like a burden." Translation, white woman says luxury is synonymous with poverty. Says she can't carry the weight of entitlement. Says her future is so bright it's blinding. Says the freedom card feels more like a death sentence. White woman speaks without thinking, speaks of her existence without gratitude, swallows the privilege pill but wants to avoid the aftertaste, pierces her tongue with liberty and dares to call it pain. White woman has audacity, has courage, labels herself a misfortune, her life a series of undesired advantages. White woman is grieving. White woman is grieving. Can't seem to understand why she's being punished for being so white. A moment of silence for this white woman and the next white woman and the white children that follow her. Let's recognize that these women were good, were suffering. Let's acknowledge the hardship, the responsibility that comes with being a white woman in this world. Let's list everything white women don't have. Flavor. White woman speaks in a room full of black women, and I sit back silent because the title of this conference is Black Womanhood, and the title of the last event was Black Sisterhood. And white woman still can't find her GPS, found herself lost on her way here, but now claims a position as CEO of womanhood. Shessie understands, nods her head anytime she is not speaking. And when white woman does speak, she speaks with her mouth closed for fear of showing too much white. She clenches her teeth to keep from swallowing the poison of her words. White woman wants to blend in, shouts she is queer before shouting she is white. She does not want the room to confuse her with the next white woman, because we tend to do that, mix up the faces. So white woman defends herself, puts her shield for comfort, because white woman does not want to feel singled out. White woman wants to be one of us, without being one of us, wants to be here for the good fight, wants to be here for the good fight, and has us ignore her birthright. White woman is demanding, argues that she's been silenced too many times by men, wants to speak up for herself, so white woman shares the hashtag, says men are trash, but forgets to take out her own garbage. White woman is crying now because the room didn't greet her rosy scent when she walked in. The room turned the other way, and white woman was hurt because this is the only march she's been to where she hasn't seen herself on a stage. So white woman is offended, feels excluded and unwanted, feels marginalized and underrepresented. She argues that she's never seen herself on screen because the white woman in that movie was wearing orange and she'd never wear orange. White woman wants everything black, but black people. White woman speaks, wants her voice to take up the room, wants it to echo and glue black mouths shut, wants to be in command, to call the shots, wants her body to be noticed, to be worshipped as she walks on an earth and professes godly powers. White woman speaks, and I sit and listen to the bullshit.
gotta put some ice on that. Cool that down real quick. All right. If you took that personally, good job. Good thing. You should have. Oh yeah, hold up. Can we get one more round of applause? I mean, everybody on their feet. On their feet. All right. I mean, we gotta keep going with the program, right? So, our next speaker is Mustafa. Let's get a good round of applause for Mustafa.
I appreciate everyone that's come up here to support the Black Lives Movement. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
My name is Mustafa Muhammad. I'm black and I'm Muslim. I'm proud to be one, and I'm not a terrorist. It's a challenge being black every day of my life. But as you know, history repeats itself. And this for the white folks out here today. One of your white folks said this: burning an American city to the ground won't bring back George Floyd. Well, I say, bombing Middle East countries won't undo 9/11. Alright, so y'all know what's happening in all the large states, how mostly my people are rioting and looting, right? Well, let's be honest with you guys. I don't really blame them because we have done the speaking, we have done the protesting, we have done the marching. White kills black, self-defense. Black kills white, murder. Black kills black, gang violence. White kills white, accident. Muslim kills, give me a sec.
Okay, take your time, brother.
Muslim kills white, terrorist. White kills Muslim, mental health issues. It's not just the police, it's the system. It's the white doctors killing us. It's the white judges giving us life sentences. It's white citizens being able to kill us on the streets and getting rewards for it. Destroy the system. Do y'all get it yet? I have a question for y'all white folks. So what do you guys want us to do now? Y'all get mad when we march. Y'all get mad when we kneel. Y'all get mad when we riot. Tell me, white people, what exactly does an acceptable protest look like to you? Or can y'all just admit that you don't want us to rise at all? Maybe I don't cry, but it hurts. Maybe I won't say, but I feel. Maybe I don't show, but I care. If you have a problem with someone's skin color, you have a problem with the Creator. He created us in a multitude of colors so we can appreciate diversity and live in harmony. Don't let anyone tell you who is more superior. Treat people fairly. The Almighty is watching. Put an end to racism and violence. Stop labeling people. We're all part of Almighty's creation. How difficult is it to be kind and promote peace? It costs nothing. Let's make a concerted effort to spread this message far and wide. Start by being a living example of it. The greatest lesson you can teach yourself is to be patient. Be patient when you're happy, because happiness ends. And be patient when you're sad, because sadness too ends. Nothing is constant. Everything is temporary, except God, the eternal, the everlasting. Thank you for your time.
Everybody okay? I just wanted to test the mic, so mic tested.
Quick shout out to ATG for helping us with the sound system. Oh, North End Studios. North End Studios. My deep apologies. North End Studios. All right. So the next speaker we have is Edwin. Amazing soul, amazing performer. So Edwin's gonna come up here and share some beautiful words as well.
Yeah, that's probably like a little bit of this, a little something. Yeah, okay. Hello, Nana Bosha, delight in me sees the light in you. Thank you for, nah, never mind. So, I want to talk about, I'm going to make some if-then statements. I'm going to talk about some big ideas and some smaller ideas. And I'm going to talk about my experience of cultural genocide and attempted genocide on my life as a Black and Native adoptee in Vermont. So I was adopted. I was born in Evanston, Illinois. My birth mother was attending college at the time and had a child already. And because of systemic violence and redlining, and because she could not go to school and support her family at the same time, she's like, I don't want my child to live in poverty. I lived in poverty anyway, and you can raise kids and love them and be poor, and they can enjoy life and be encouraged. The amount of money that you have does not have anything to do with what kind of parent you are. It has to do with resources that can be offered, but your community should be offering those resources. Scarcity is a myth, and we're going to get to that too. So this adoption happened. Also, I almost never mind. So I was adopted, and I went to Little Lambs preschool in Rutland, Vermont. This school still exists. We made little Indian, racist face things, and there's photos of me in this, all-white school. Also, there's segregation, and when I look through these photos, I see me alone, and then the only other Black girl that went to the school, she showed up, and then suddenly we were best friends, and we were looking dope and shit, and we were in all the photos together, but we stayed separate, and we had each other's backs, and we would pledge allegiance to a cardboard cutout of George Bush. That's something that's happening in schools in this, what? So there's that, and then my hair is another battleground, in that when I was younger, my adoptive mother would forcibly chemically straighten my hair. It would burn my scalp. I was told that my natural hair was ugly, that it looks like pubic hair. I'm sure a lot of your children say this stuff at school. Maybe you should talk about race with them. So we're in preschool right now. And I sang in the choir, and I was everything they wanted me to be, because at school, that was the only affirmation I was getting. So I was like, ooh, I want to simulate. Like, I didn't listen to rap because white kids always ask me if I listen to rap. And I was like, fuck you, don't assume. I'll probably swear. I'm too tired not to. I don't know. You're gonna get what you're gonna get. Cause that's what I get. And so from my hair being this battleground, and then I'll tell you what helped. I actually didn't know like a black adult personally until I was around 18. I had a black brother that was adopted from another family but moved out of that house when I was very young, and was very traumatized. Had at Mill River in Rutland, Vermont, which I visited. I almost attended high school there, but there were so many Confederate flags and I got called a nigger so many times that I was like, probably not for me, right? And we talked to, and it's not the kids are all right. They're getting this systemically from our educational institutions that rely on authority, that use textbooks that are mass produced and that erase our history. Also, just another fun fact, we've never had a black judge in the state of Vermont. If anyone can find me one that we did have, I've been researching this for a while. So, I cannot find a black judge. So, what does that mean? And then, so, okay. Also, this is just how my brain works, and I constantly have to organize my thoughts in ways that are acceptable to other people, but I'm just spitting right now, and this is kind of nice. So, from the... Thank you. So, genocide with my hair. So, the cure for that was I met black women who, like, I saw the rituals of braiding hair, and when I went on this trip, gosh, okay, so I went to this elitist, bourgeoisie, ableist private school called Long Trail in Dorset, Vermont, and I was in all their photos. They were a big, like, diversity thing. And I experienced so much stuff there that I'm still unpacking at this point. But I had to keep my grade point average when my home situation wasn't safe, and I was regularly treated like a bad kid for manifestations of my depression that made me unable to finish work that was given to me at some points. And I actually got kicked out of that school when I went to the psych ward at 16 for severe suicidal ideation. I voluntarily went because I love my grandparents very much. And I was blessed with amazing grandparents, and I was like, well, I know that they love me without a doubt, and I guess I'll, whatever. And I went, and I was actually held against my will, even though the medical age of consent to medical treatment is 16 in Vermont. I was 16 when I went. I had begun the emancipation process. Because I was tired of forging signatures, and I was like, if I'm doing all this shit anyway, like, how about I get some rights while I'm at it? So, that process can take up to 2 years. So, it didn't end up, there's all of these, wow, okay. I'm just gonna back up. I'm gonna back up a lot here. There's something that I want to talk about honesty. So if there is a genuine empathy, there needs to be an understanding that none of us individually is special, or we're all special. And something that throws me off regularly is when I see tokenization or authority in regards to the way that information is shared, specifically like tactics of shame, and how these tactics are employed in our schools to make children doubt themselves, to make children think that they don't even like learning. And also our society is set up really weird in that, like, you're supposed to be learning in your adolescence, like, while you're in school, and then I guess you're just, like, cooked and done. And the way that we, like, the education that we give our kids is irrelevant, and a lot of our schools don't have any sort of, like, resources to role models who can help our kids get these, like, real-life skills that are transferable, that are based on their individual interests, accommodation, and I feel like as a society, our priority has gotten so far away from education, and because of like the college structure and the gatekeeping processes of college admission, financial parameters that come with that, there is so much that goes into this structure. And honestly, I'm shook by since I became a full-time activist, I've just been reading, and I feel like I'm being like ripped into pieces in different parts. And I had talked to my birth family and found out that I am Native and Black, and that both sides of my family hate each other. And my nana is Black, and she's a God-fearing woman, and she said, your grandpa practiced voodoo, but he's dead now, and I think that's devil worship. She told me that she wishes I wasn't queer, and like every community that I have a foot in, there is so much beauty and there is so much pain, and it's really frustrating to me because on top of this, all of us, like everyone here, unless there's any 1%ers, our democracy is actually broken. Our nomination process we do not have collective political autonomy, and it is the intention of individuals who do like to profit off of our labor and exploit us, and keep us isolated and segregated, to segregate us further. Race is not real, but it matters. There are no attributes, or like pigmentation comes from melanin. There's no like we talk about races, like there's like 5 like core races, but that has been large. That's like some eugenic science shit that just keeps manifesting, and it's not real. And white children learn not to see it, not to talk about it, and lose all the tools to address situations. So, okay, so also I'm neurodivergent, and I'm going to cut this speech short, and because I'm overstimulated, but I'm going to be a full-time student for this, and I'm looking for mentors because I want to be able to do the best work that I am capable. I want to be the cartilage of the movement, and I want to bridge the gaps between my community, because I've seen what that looks like, and I've seen the amount of trauma that people allow using the same tools of power and enforcing authority on each other. And something that, like, looking at consumerism and how it impacts like the factory line standardized testing in our schools, but also like looking at interpersonal relationships, because the revolution really is personal, and it starts with people you hold closest in those difficult conversations, and feeling like you deserve to advocate for yourself. And yeah, so I have a sign-up form here, and it's there's a series of sign-up forms here for people who are interested in creating like long-term links of communication between people who are living in Vermont and people passing through, and communicating needs, because it's not happening. It's not happening to the scale that's necessary, and a lot of people don't know local issues that are affecting us. Like when I found out there's never been a black judge before, I'm like, gee, like, oh my God. And so there's so much information, and I feel like something that frustrates me a lot is because when I like collaborate with different groups, I feel like a lot of time we're recreating the wheel, but there's so much information that our elders have left behind for us, like trails of information. All like most of this, everything I've told you is pretty much old news, but I need help learning. So I'm trying to find people who are able to be full-time